Friends, this is Ratnam, Associate Professor of Chemistry from Government Degree College, Bodham. Today my topic is metal carbonyls and organometallic compounds and inorganic chemistry. And of course, it is also a part of organic chemistry. Let us take this is a combination of two parts: metal carbonyls and organometallic compounds. What are metal carbonyls? Metal carbonyls are these are complexes actually because we have completed coordination complexes and it is part of that coordination complex, and these are complexes which are formed by only one ligand, that is carbonyl. So here every metal ion whatever we take is surrounded by the ligands, carbonyl ligands, and therefore it forms metal carbonyls. There are actually the bonding between metal and carbonyl is something special, and it has some unique features because of which this carbonyl uh, complexes have become a separate chapter. It has attracted so much of interest by the scientists. We have almost could see that several different types of carbonyls have been synthesized and prepared in the laboratory with different metal ions. Some common examples we can say like nickel carbonyl, that is the tetracarbonyl nickel, pentacarbonyl iron, octocarbonyl cobalt. So not only one metal, but it is also having multi-nuclear. That is more than two what metal ions, carbonyls can combine to give what multi-nuclear complexes. So that is the specialty of carbonyl formation with metal, and these are the special category of complexes. Let us take, for example, the preparation of nickel carbonate. Nickel carbonyl is, you can see this uh, complex. Nickel is the central metal ion and carbonyl is the ligand, and 4 coordination number is 4. And it can be directly prepared by combination, that is reaction between nickel and carbonyl. That is when carbonyl gas is passed through nickel, which is under reduction. So this reduced nickel is reacts with carbonyl, and nickel carbonyl is formed at 6 degrees centigrade. And there is the indirect method of preparing nickel carbonyl with nickel iodide reaction with carbonyl to give nickel carbonyl. And also we can say that nickel cyanide, it is already a complex wherein carbonyl when reacts with cyanide, all the cyanide ligands are replaced with carbonyl so that nickel carbonyl is prepared. So this is how we can prepare nickel carbonyl complex. You can note down this, and we can look at the properties of nickel carbonyls. It is a colorless liquid with a melting point minus 25 degrees centigrade and boiling point 43 degrees centigrade. It is insoluble in water, but dissolves in organic solvents. Its decomposition is something around 180 to 200 degrees centigrade. When you look at this, actually reactions are not much important because we are more concerned with the structures. Some reactions you can see as data is available. Reaction with sulfuric acid, it gives nickel sulfate and H2 gas is liberated, and how it reacts with the nitric oxide and nitrous oxide, and also reaction with heating, reaction with halogens. These are some reactions which we can see with regard to nickel carbonate. It also undergoes substitution reactions by some strong ligands. Now look at the structure of nickel carbonate. Already I told you that nickel, you can see the nickel ground state configuration is 28. So 28 means 2 electrons in 4s2 orbital, 8 electrons in 3d8. You can see here 2 electrons in 4s and here 3d8. Already 8 electrons are there. But when carbonyls approach nickel, these 2 electrons get excited because it is in zero oxidation state. No electron is lost. So total 10 electrons are there. So these 4s electrons are shifted or excited. They shift to 3d so that 3d becomes 3d10. All the electrons are paired. Now this 4s is now empty and 4p orbitals already there. 1, 2, 3 and 4s is 1. So 4s, 4p together 4 orbitals are available. They are empty. Therefore they undergo hybridization to give sp3 hybridization. So due to this sp3 hybridization, the structure of nickel carbonyl is tetrahedral. You can see the structure tetrahedral. One is up and the other three in the pyramid shape. And with this empty hybrid orbital, vacant hybrid orbital, each carbonyl gives 2 electrons, so that these are completely filled. So this is how we can see that sp3 hybridization and tetrahedral structure for nickel carbonyl. You can see the specialty of carbonyls, because already I am telling you that carbonyls have some special feature, so specially categorized because of some what the nature you can understand. They form a synergic bonding between metal and carbonyl. Why this synergic bond and what type of bond it is? It is actually two-way bonding. Generally, in coordination complex formation, a ligand gives or donates electron pair to metal ion, so that a coordination bonding is formed between metal and ligand. This is a common thing that we can see that as a sigma bond. Here also we can see same type of bonding here. This is the electron pair from carbonyl. This is the ligand, central metal ion, and this carbonyl carbon. This electron pair is donating to metal, so that the sigma bonding is shown left side arrow. You can see this sigma bonding, coordination bonding as usually what we predict according to VBT valence bond theory. So this electron pair is given to metal ion. This is, you can see. After this formation, carbon is having empty orbital, empty pi orbital. Carbon is having empty pi orbital, and the d orbitals of metal are filled, because already there are filled electrons in the d orbitals of the metal. Due to the pairing of electrons are already may be existing within the metal. So this filled orbital of metal and empty orbital of carbonyl, uh, they interact with each other, and a partial sideway overlapping between these two orbitals take place, and which results in a kind of pi bonding. This is called a back bonding or pi bonding or d pi p pi bonding. We can call this as a d pi p pi, because d orbital pi orbitals of d orbitals of metal and p pi orbitals of carbonyl, they interact with each other. That's why these pi electrons are donated back to p orbital, which are empty on the carbonyl. This you can see on the diagram. So this is actually carbonyl is giving coordination bonding formed by the sigma bonding electrons, that is 2 electrons are donated from carbonyl to metal. After that, this metal, the pi electrons which are present in the d orbital of the metal, they are shared or given back to empty p orbital of carbonyl, and this is what we call as d pi p pi back bonding or pi bonding. So due to this two-way bonding, the bond is more strengthened. Because of this, the bond is more strengthened. And you can see this, the donation of pair of electrons from a filled d orbital, that is filled d orbital of the metal ion into the vacant antibonding pi star orbital of carbonyl. That is how we expect a metal carbon pi bond. Okay, this is a pi bonding which is from left to right, that is from metal to ligand. That is the specialty of this. So due to this, the CO bond length increases because MC bond decreases. The bond length between metal and carbon decreases because of the strong bond, two-way bonding, and that is what we call as synergic bonding. Due to this synergic bonding, the bond between metal and carbon decreases bond length, and the carbon and oxygen bond length increases. So this is how we can say how a synergic bonding is formed between metal and carbonyl, and this is the special characterization of carbonyls as ligand when they form complexes with metals. Okay, so this is what we call as bonding in metal carbonyls is both sigma and pi bonding. Sigma bonding is between carbon, from carbon to metal, whereas pi bonding is from metal to carbon of the carbonyls. And that is the beauty of this. And let us further take up the structure of iron pentacarbonyl. Iron pentacarbonyl. This is FeCO taken 5. This is pentacarbonyl iron 0. IUPAC nomenclature, because this is also complex. Now, how this happens? Since iron is in zero oxidation state, the atomic number of iron is 26. You know, so all the 26 electrons are present, 6 electrons in 3d and 2 electrons in 4s orbital. Now every electron is present because it is not having any plus charge, no electron is removed. Yeah, but what happens, as carbonyl is a strong ligand, when it approaches iron, this electron, two electrons pair up here, and this also pair up here. So all here all the electrons are present, they pair up there and leaving one empty d orbital on this side, one empty d orbital, and also 4s empty, and 4p3 orbitals are also empty. So we have one d orbital, one s orbital, three p orbitals empty. Now dsp3 hybridization is possible due to the strong nature of carbonyl. All the electrons are paired up, and after that, this dsp3 is the hybridization possible for this complex. And dsp3 hybridization gives the structure trigonal bipyramidal. It is trigonal bipyramidal, wrong ligament. So triangular bipyramidal. It's not pentagonal. Pentagonal is 5. It is only trigonal bipyramidal. So you can see three carbonyls on the same plane, and one above the plane, another below the plane. So this is how we see the formation of iron pentacarbonyl is explained, and the structure is explained. The hybridization is dsp3, structure of this is trigonal bipyramidal. You can see one more complex. This is di-iron nona-carbonyl, because nona means 9 carbonyls. 2 iron atoms are there, that means 2 metal atoms are there, and 9 carbonyl ligands are there. How the possible structure has been, and this structure has been in debate for the long ago, because there are so many issues involved in this. One is how can it satisfy the 18 electron rule, because how this carbonyl is formed, and how to explain that bonds, different bonds which are possible, because 9 carbonyls combining to only 2 iron atoms. So how it could be? So this is at last the structure has been traced out to be that there are three terminal carbonyls on each iron. You can see three terminal carbonyls. Each iron is having three pairs. That is 1, 2, 3 on different pairs. On both sides we can see carbonyl, 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 and in the middle the remaining three are bridging type. They are bridging type banana bonds. Again, 3 center to electron type bonding. That is iron carbonyl iron. So here this is like this. You can see iron carbonyl iron. So this is how a bonding, bridging type bonding or banana type bonding is formed between iron and iron, keeping carbonyl in the middle. So three are bridging, three terminal, that is 6 are internal, 3 are bridging. So 9 are completed. Now, when you look at the electron rule, that is 18 electron rule, then you can see that iron is, you see, this is the bonding in bridging bonding or this, and these are carbonyls. This is carbon, this is oxygen, this is iron, 2 are iron. Uh, each iron with three terminal carbonyls, three bridging carbonyls, and one iron-iron bonding is there between two iron atoms. So there is one bonding between one iron and another iron. That is also shown here. You can see here. This is the bonding between iron and iron. So that what we have to write carefully. So each iron, we can see how 18 electron rule is completed. Because iron is uh, 26, so altogether in zero oxidation state means 8 totally, 2 electrons in 4s orbital, 6 electrons in d orbital, together they come back to d only. So in d there are 8 electrons, and for each carbon, each iron, you can see each iron is having, each iron is having 3 terminal carbonyls. So each terminal carbon gives 2 electrons, so 6 electrons. And 3 are bridging. Bridging means their share is one electron towards each iron. So one electron to this and another electron to this. That's why these 3 bridging, they share 3 electrons. And iron-iron bond means one electron from each iron. So that is 1. So altogether 8 plus 6 plus 3 plus 1. So that leads to 18. 18 electron rule is followed by F2CO taken 9. So we can see what is electing electron rule, and how it is explained to each and every carbonyl, because this is very important according to our syllabus. 18 electron rule is to be maintained by these complexes. We need to explain how 18 electron rule is given. Here you can see how we have explained 18 electron rule. So that I will again explain after a few time, just a few minutes. This is the structure of trinuclear. That is, there are 3 centers, 3 iron centers, where 12 carbonyl ligands are there. So almost it is something more difficult to assess the structure, because what could be the possible structure? Symmetry also very difficult to explain. You can see there are 3 terminal carbonyls to each iron, and 1 extra carbonyl terminal carbonyl that is present to 1 iron. So altogether 3 plus 3 plus 9 plus 1, 10. And 2 bridging type carbonyls present. The 2 bridging carbonyls are present, and iron to iron bond is there. That is, each iron is having one bonding to other iron. So this is how we can have different combinations of bonding present in the this tri-iron uh, dodeca carbonyl. So the structures is given. Structure you can write this structure how it look like. Similarly, one more carbonyl that is hexacarbonyl chromium 0. Here also chromium is in 0 oxidation number because um, it is there in 0, that means 24 altogether. So all the 6 electrons are paired up in the 3D, and there are 2 d orbitals which are empty now. One s orbital empty and 4 p orbital also we are empty. Now the since coordination number is 6, so we need 6 vacant orbitals. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is D2 hybridization. So D2 sp3 hybridization is the uh, what hybridization given for chromium carbonyl complex, and unpaired electrons are not there, and the structure is octahedral structure that we know that D2sp3 or sp3d2 gives octahedral structure. 4 carbonyls on the same plane. These are the middle carbonyls are on the same plane, and this is above the plane, and this is below the plane. Now let us come back to this 18 electron rule. What is this 18 electron rule? According to 18 electron rule, what it tells me is just like we already know that in the primary education we learn octet. There is a total number of what bonding and electrons total on the central atom should be equal to 8. So this is what we call as octet rule. Similarly, when there is involvement of d orbital, because in complexes, the two in carbonyls, and of course in nitrosyls also. Since d orbital is also involved, that's why 10 electrons more is added. So altogether 18 electrons means s orbital 2 electrons, p orbital 6 electrons, d orbital 10 electrons. Total is 18 electrons. So each central atom must contain 18 electrons to get more stability. So that is the idea of 18 electron rule. So this those complexes which possess this 18 electron rule, they are more stable, and they are stabilized by extra stabilized by this what that is completely filled orbitals, that indicates a completeness of the orbitals. Let us take up the examples what we had just now, whatever we have seen. This 18 electron rule, how it would satisfy? Very simple method. What we have to do is we take the central atom, for example nickel carbonate. Nickel carbonate, take this nickel. Nickel oxidation number is 0, and what is the atomic number? 28. What is the end configuration? 4s2 3d8. 4s2 3d8, 0 oxidation state. That's why s orbital is having 2 electrons, d orbital is already having 8 electrons, but during complex formation all the 4s2 electrons are also what shifted to d. Therefore d orbital is having 10 electrons. So when complex is formed, we know that already we have seen that nickel d orbital is having 10 electrons. Now each carbonyl is giving 2 electrons, and all carbonyls are direct bonding to nickel. Therefore each carbonyl is 2. So 4 carbonyls are there. That's why they contribute 8 electrons. So already d orbital has 10 electrons. So 10 plus 8, 18 electrons. Therefore it follows 18 electron rule. Similarly, iron complex. If you take iron complex, iron atomic number is 26, and it is also in 0 oxidation state. So when complex is formed, 6 plus 2, that is 8 electrons are present in the iron d orbital. Therefore, d orbital of iron is having 8 electrons. You can see here. And carbonyls, how many carbonyls? 5. So 5 carbonyls means 10 electrons, because each gives 2 electrons. That's why 10. So 10 plus 8 again 18 electrons. This is also following 18 electron. Similarly, chromium, this when we look at the chromium, it is having hexacarbonate. 6 carbonyls are there. What is the atomic number of chromium? 24. What is the oxidation number? Oxidation state is 0 again. That means 24 means 4s to 3d4. So altogether 6 electrons are present in the d orbital. Therefore, we have seen this already that d orbital is having 6 electrons chromium, and how many carbonyls are there? 6 carbonyls. So each carbonyl gives 2 electrons. Therefore 12 electrons are donated by ligands. So already d orbital is having 6 and 12 are donated. Therefore 12 plus 6, 18 electrons. So this is also following 18 electron rule. So simple way we can understand how 18 electron rule is followed. And in the last session already we had a discussion here for what di-iron nona-carbonyl. So this complex already we explained that way here the difference is that here the ligands are not completely bonding to a single iron. There are 3 bridging carbonyls. So this is where you need to understand very carefully. And we have 2 metals, 2 iron atoms, and 3 bridging ligands. Therefore, we have to divide the electrons properly. You can see on the left side, this is the iron. On the left side, it has 3 separate carbonyls only attached to it. Therefore, iron is having 8 electrons already in the d orbital, and 3 carbonyls are giving 6 electrons, and bridging carbonyls giving 1 electron, and iron iron bonding gives 1 electron. So altogether 4 single electrons. Pairing electrons are 2 2 2 6. That is 4 plus 6 10. Already 8 electrons are present in the iron. Therefore the total is 18. This is the case for this also. Right side iron also having same structure. Therefore for that also we get same 18. So that is also one way. Or the other way we can calculate. We calculate the total and divide it by 2. That's also one easy way of doing that. If you add up total, there also we get the simple that each iron is having 8 plus 8, 16 electrons, and altogether 9 carbonyls means 18 electrons. 18 plus 16, 18 plus 16, that is 34, and iron bonding 2 electrons, so 36. Again 36 shared by 2 iron atoms. That's why when you divide it with 2, it gives 18. So that is also one way of doing 18 electron rule. You can see this 3 iron atoms. Okay, this is only 2 iron atoms. Then this is already we have explained. Yeah, we can see this structure here also. We can, I think we can explain because iron is having 8 2 plus 2 plus 2 6 plus 8 14, so 8 14 and 15 16 17 18. You can see this. So this iron is having 8 electrons. Then 2 plus 2 plus 2 6, 14 electrons, and these are bridging 1 2 bridging, and one iron atom, another iron atom. So 1 2 3 4 single electrons, 4 electrons. So 4 plus 14 total is 18. Same case is with this also. Here also it is having same 3 full carbonyls, 6 electrons, and 2 bridging, 2 iron metal. So 4 plus 6 10 plus 8 electrons are present on iron, so 18. Coming to this iron, here no bridging, only iron metal atoms, metal bonding is there. So one carbonyls are 4, 1 2 3 4, 4 carbonyls. You can see 1 2 3 4. So 8 electrons, and this is single electron 1 9. Here single electron 10. So 2 single electrons for ligands, that is 10, and already iron is having 8 electrons, therefore 18. So here also this is following 18 electron rule without any doubt. So we can, while writing this, we have to write very carefully how it explains 18 electron rule. Based on the structure, we have to write the structure, and after that we have to explain that step by step how many terminal carbonyls are there, how many bridging carbonyls are there, and how many iron atoms are there, which gives one bridging. Every bridging kernel gives only one electron to iron. Similarly, uh, every iron to iron metal metal bond also gives one electron to each metal. So this is where we end up carbonyls, metal carbonyls. Now let us take up organometallic compounds. What are organic metallic compounds? There are different types of organic metallic compounds, where we say that if metal carbonyl bond is there, they are called organic metallic compounds. Wherever there is a metal combining with organic molecule, that to carbon. So here Mr or Rm, you can call it this Rm, in which metal carbon bond is there. This is metal carbon bond. And when this bond is formed, we can see that metals are electropositive, or we can call this as less electronegative when compared to carbon. Therefore, what happens? They give electrons away from them, and carbon gains electron. That's why carbon becomes here carbanion. It behaves like a carbanion compound, and it is a source of carbanions. So organometallic compounds, whenever we take this as a reagent, we generate carbanion very easily by taking metals like magnesium, lithium, zinc, copper, etc. So we can have so many different metals, aluminium also there. What are different types of metallic compounds? We can see this. So before we start this session, types of metallic compounds, we will take up this organometallic compounds in the next session. Thank you.